First, there is the Prime Minister spending too much time abroad. 020 7862 2222. Give us your thoughts on this. Keir Starmer has been in office since the 5th of July. I've got a little calendar here to illustrate this. So the 5th of July is there. OK, that's when Labour were elected, for better or worse. And then we have, let's do the trips together. So where it's a long way, I'm going to do a day either side because obviously you're knocked out with jet lag and whatnot. And actually, this doesn't include travel days. OK, so 9th to the 11th of July, Washington, NATO summit. Then he goes quick trip for the Euros final in Berlin on Sunday, the 14th of July. It's just a one-day thing. Then he's got the Olympics opening ceremony in Paris, 26th, 27th. Again, we won't give him a travel day there, not necessary. He's got a bit of holiday there. We're not counting that. We're then going down to the 26th and 27th. This is Berlin for the German Chancellor, and then knocking on to Paris for the Paralympics. So again, I won't count travel days there. There's Ireland, Dublin, meeting the new Taoiseach of Ireland. Then September the 13th, he needs a travel day there. And there, he's meeting Biden, 13th of September. The 16th, he then goes to Rome. And that's again, I mean, there's nothing in between those two really. And then the 23rd, 24, 25, 26, 27, he's at the New York General Assembly. So again, we have to have a travel day, just either side, grey it out. Wednesday, gosh, there's a lot of travel here. Wednesday, the 2nd of October, Brussels. He met Ursula von der Leyen. Then he goes to Berlin. Biden comes over to Berlin. Scholz is there as well. So that's a one-day wonder. Then 24, 25, 26 October, we're nearly there. He goes for a Commonwealth meeting in Samoa. That's a lot of his time. That's taken almost a week, really, with travel. Then the 11th of November, he's on a Carol's fallen. I can hear you snoring over there.
No,
sorry, the 7th, he's in Budapest, Hungary, European Political Summit. Then the one thing he certainly can't and wouldn't miss, the Armistice Day commemoration with Macron, which is in Paris this year, really historic. And then this crazy location for the COP summit, Baku in Afghanistan. So you have to add a bit of travel in there. And in Azerbaijan. So Baku was the COP summit where, by the way, we talked about the fact that the Taliban were there as well. We won't dwell on that. So that doesn't include the travel to and from. I don't know, Harriet. It feels like a lot, but maybe that's modern leadership.
Well, I think it is a lot, but things that matter to this country are affected by what happens abroad. And he needs to be part of the group of world leaders. I mean, if you think about our economy, it depends on trade. We've got to have good relations with Europe and improve our trade with Europe, especially as America might be going to put tariffs on. And we want no tariffs on our exports to America. Therefore, we might need a trade deal. So he's got to be, getting to know everybody in America because he's new. He's got to be getting to know immigration matters. He's got to be getting to know the Italians who are taking a new line of action on it, the Germans where apparently these boats get stored that then are used in the channel. So he's got to be talking to the German government. He's got to be talking to the French government as well, not just about trade, but about immigration. And actually, it must be really knackering. I mean, the jet lag must be like nobody's business. But he's got to do it, especially because he's new and he's got a good team back home. But he's got to be out there.
OK,
otherwise.
It's a good point. He is new. Carol, before you comment, I'll just show you what he's about to do, which is significant as well. So he's going to jet off to Brazil, to Rio de Janeiro, for the G20. And that takes us to 18th and 19th of November. But again, I think with that, again, it's a long trip. So again, we sort of grey out the days either side because there's travel days. It's not half his time, but if you include his holidays, he's been in the UK for about 60% of his time since being elected. Carol.
If this country is in the hellish state that Keir Starmer and his government keeps telling us it is, you would think he might want to stay here and try and go about sorting that. Instead, he's flying around the world on taxpayers' cash, playing international statesman, a role I suspect he absolutely relishes. I don't believe Harriet says that he's got to make these relations. It's good for this country. It's not good for this country to spend one day in a country and another 2 days there, because he's achieving nothing in terms of policy and he's achieving nothing in terms of anything that's good for this country.
What about, Carol, you know, later we're talking about the actual specifics of the climate stuff, and he is taking or trying to take a world leadership role because Trump is pulling back from that.
And does
that not make you feel proud?
Is that about ego? Is that about reality? You know, at the COP, he is only him and Giorgia Meloni. They're the only two G7 leaders who are there. The other ones are not there. He has chosen to be there. But you know, Harriet was talking about being worried about America, no tariffs. The person he should be meeting is not Joe Biden, but it's Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is the guy who's going to impose the tariffs. Instead, he's flying around Europe talking to European leaders about trade. You know, Trump is pro-Brexit. He does not want this association with Europe that we have, for a start, which will affect our trade tariffs because he won't give us a trade deal. But also in terms of... Do you want to
see him going to Ukraine?
Sorry?
You want to see him go to Ukraine?
Well, I think that's probably the best thing.
Before Trump takes over?
I think that could be the best thing he could do. I think in terms of the immigration, just this week, the civil servant said that his plan to stop the boats, Starmer's plan to stop the boats, will not work. He should be here sorting out a new one, because we're getting people coming in all the time.
Let's go to Tony in East Yorkshire. What do you think, Tony? I'm looking at this calendar thinking, is that a lot? I'm not sure.
Well, some of it I agree with what you just said, but it's only going to be a short call, is this, because a lot of the things that the previous caller has just said, I do agree with, but not all of it.
Well, Carol.
But I mean, my thoughts are that he's got to get the relationship back together. It went down the pan, if you like, when Brexit came along. And it's just a question of going out, meeting people. It's a PR exercise, not for him. It's a PR exercise for the country. It was voted. I must say, I didn't vote for him, but it was voted in at the last election. Let him do his job, and I think that what he's doing... It's a good point that
he's trying... You were in favour of Brexit. He's trying to paper over the problems caused by something you supported.
I don't think he is. I think currently, he's totally out of step with Europe in the sense that, you know, he rejected the Rwanda plan. Europe now is taking up the Rwanda plan. They're on a totally different page to Starmer on almost everything. So the fact he's cozying up to Europe isn't going to make any difference for us in any way.
Harriet, you agree with that?
No, I don't. I mean, by definition, immigration is an international issue. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't solve that problem on your own when you've got people coming from France in boats being stored in Germany. You have to work internationally. Our economy, and the economy obviously matters, you know, hugely, second only to national security, where you've got to work internationally on national security as well. But if you think of our economy, we're a trading country, and we've got to have, you know, build relationships and have good trading agreements with Europe, which is the biggest set of economies near us, and also with the States. And he did meet Donald Trump when he went over before the election. So I think he has to do it because to solve the problems, we need to have relationships with other international countries.
If he's working with Europe, how do you explain our relationship with France? They take millions of pounds from us every year and they just laugh at us. They send everybody across. They do nothing to stop people coming across.
Well, he's only been in since July and he's really cracking on with it.
Oh, no, he's not cracking on with anything. The crossings are higher than ever. He scrapped the only possible deterrent, which was the Rwanda plan, which has been taken up by the Germans, by the Italians, by the French.
All right.
They're all doing what we had the chance to do.
Pause there. Douglas in Essex, hi.
Oh, good morning. How are you?
What do you think? I'm looking at this thinking, is it too much travel?
No, it's not. I think he should stay out of the country, actually, as long as possible.
Me too, Douglas.
I think he's become the most unpopular Prime Minister politician ever. His population has sunk completely downwards.
Well, how has that happened? I look at these numbers, I think I can't believe them. The speed of it. What has he done wrong? What's the one big thing?
Exactly. Well, all the lies, so many lies. Yes. It's incredible. Working people, lies about that, employers' national insurance, Winterfield, there's going to be deaths. How is he going to feel after all these people? The Labour predicted 4,000 deaths if the Winterfield was taken away. How many deaths are they going to accept this time?
Douglas, thank you. That has definitely brought it all back home. We have to take a quick break. We will be back taking more calls in just a moment. Do you think the Prime Minister is spending too much time abroad? So Baroness Harman and... Baroness Harman?
Yeah.
Harriet Harman and Carole Malone, can't get used to it.
The first time you've addressed her as that.
No, I know. I usually do first names, but anyway.
Actually, I think we should change it. I don't think we should have any of this lords and ladies stuff.
Yeah,
We're in
okay.
there to do a job of work, which should be HL, like MP.
Yes.
House
Yeah,
of Lords,
I
HL.
think we should say Baroness once at the start to show that we know.
Can I
and then
ask
we go to Harriet.
when you're booking a table in a restaurant that's a really popular restaurant and you can't get it, would you use Baroness?
Never.
Would you?
Never.
See,
Really?
I completely would.
Because I always ring up and say, I'm
would
looking for
say-
Baroness Harman. And
I would
get
say,
in
I'm
everywhere.
a friend of Baroness Harman. Do you have a table? That's what I'd say.
OK, we're going to return to your calls on Keir Starmer now. Whether he's spending too much time abroad, just remember the map here. Someone gave me the number of days that he's spent abroad, and there is a count on it. 27, was it? But including Rio. However, that doesn't include journey time. And as we know, however rich and famous you are, or rather high profile and important you are, if you're travelling a very long way, you can't really count the day either side as work days back at home. Wayne is in Cheshire. Maybe we're being too grudging here, Wayne. Maybe he's got every right to travel. We need international status.
Now, I'm sure everybody knows there's wonderful technology now on Skype, and obviously they'll have a secure connection. It's just like you're actually there for the conference. I think it's hypocrisy of the first order, because at the same time we've sent Ed Miliband to a conference about global warming, and imagine all the emissions which are going out into the atmosphere. So it's hypocrisy as well. Now, the government supposed to be giving us examples. Buy electric cars, do the right thing. And look what he's doing it in your face. I'm not voting Labour again.
I don't know why this COP summit is in Azerbaijan. That's the thing. Do you remember there was a football final in Baku once? And people said it was Chelsea-Arsenal, and they're playing in Baku. And I can't remember even what the game was. It was a European game. And everyone said, well, this is nuts.
It's why other world leaders haven't gone. They haven't attended.
Oh, you think so?
Well, the
I
only
just
two
think
G7 leaders have gone are Starmer.
I know you said that. I don't know if it's because it's a long way away. OK. But Wayne, when you explain to Harriet here about this thing because we were just saying in the break, I was saying to Harriet, my goodness, the anger at Labour has been so intense so early. What's made you so angry so quickly? Tell Harriet.
Well, because the example of the hypocrisy is I looked at Labour like best for the atmosphere, all the emissions, and then he goes and does that when he doesn't actually need to. I think he's just on a jolly.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting. I wasn't expecting that. So he actually feels we're being let down on the climate, Harriet.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Let Harriet answer.
Hi, Wayne. I really don't think it's a jolly. I think it is a very punishing schedule. And I don't think he would be doing it if he thought he could be staying in Downing Street and just doing it on Skype. By the way, when he's on all these planes and he's there, he's working, connecting back through the communications techniques that you mentioned anyway, Wayne. But I think that if other world leaders are doing it and they're meeting there, he needs to be there to be influential. And I think it's disappointing that some of those world leaders, as Carole pointed out, didn't go to the climate change summit, because it's really important. But it's an opportunity to be pressing the case for climate change, and also for our development of green technologies, which is going to create new jobs in this country. And honestly, Wayne, I don't think he'd be doing it if he didn't think it was absolutely necessary. And
how's that, Wayne? Go on.
The answer to your point, Jeremy, about the opinion polls is that actually, if you look around, all incumbents, all governments who are actually in position are very unpopular at the moment. Is really
Harriet, not in
this
the
has
first
broken
6
some records.
months,
This one.
they're not.
Let's have
They
a look. I've got
are.
an interesting
They
poll from
are.
yesterday. So I would have thought, if you're becoming Tory leader after a wipeout like they had at the election, you'd think the chances of you winning the next election would be zero. But that's the old politics. If you're Kemi Badenoch now, you're looking at this poll and you think, let's see it if we can, please. Oh, we haven't got the poll. OK, sorry. It shows her 2 points clear.
Well, we've got time to turn it around and hopefully persuade Wayne and others that.
But you would forgive Kemi Badenoch for thinking she's got a shout here. She's got a shout.
I think she absolutely has got a shout.
And that's all you need to just get your tail up. Let's talk to Ros in Birmingham. Ros, hi.
Oh, hi.
Back to the travel. There we are. The 27 days plus travel time. Is it too much?
Well, there's just one simple question I wanted to ask. I thought the Prime Minister had a cabinet of people, one of them called the Foreign Secretary. Isn't he the one that's supposed to travel around dealing with the foreign countries?
Yeah.
Rather than the Prime Minister himself?
Well, I don't know. If you're the Prime Minister...
Isn't that his job?
Yeah, but then look at... You wouldn't be saying... It's like saying to Thatcher, look, could you stay at Downing Street and let Geoffrey Howe do all the travelling? And the Prime Minister wants to do it.
All the travel. Sorry. The reason Lammy can't go, Ros, is because he keeps on putting his foot in it everywhere he goes and every leader he meets. He's not trustworthy for this country. I think he's a liability. And it's incredible Starmer's still got him in place. But, when you come in, I get that he has to travel. Of course he does. But not in the first 6 months in government. Not when he's been telling us all for months and years that this country is in a mess and has to be fixed. He should be here fixing it, and he's not.
There's a famous story about Clinton. He was in, I think, Samoa, maybe a Pacific island, and Blair was there. And Blair said, I can't believe it. I come back to my hotel room and we've got 3 massive shirts. One of them's, kind of crazy. Then there's the even bigger Bermuda-style shirt. And then there's a massively ridiculous costume. Which one do I wear? And Clinton says, you got to wear the most crazy one. Because then when the voters back at home see you, they feel sorry for you. So that was Blair's tip from Clinton. You put on the craziest costume and try and look as if you're not enjoying it.